Hello and happy Monday, everyone. I'm Violet. I'm an expert on love, dating, and relationships. And I have an important question. Are you attracting the right sort of partners for you? So if you're dating, are you struggling with attracting people who really see you? Do you find that the men that you meet, they don't connect with you, they don't see you, they don't understand you? Or maybe you just feel that you're not getting noticed. You go out, but you never really have any romantic interactions. And when I hear a woman say, yeah, I've never been asked out in person by a guy, or I've never really been flirted, or no one's really ever asked for my number out and about, like I have to just do online dating, I think, oh my gosh, you're missing out on a large portion of people who probably want to connect with you, even if it's not romantically, who want to connect with you in networking, or want to connect with you in friendship, or want to connect with you in creative projects and collaboration. But oftentimes, especially as women, we're hiding. We're afraid of being seen, and we've gotten used to just putting our head down and working harder. So if you just go from work to the gym, back to your house, and then the grocery store every now and again, or walking your dog. And I'm not saying that you have to go to a meetup event like 4 times a week or something like that, but more importantly, are you letting the world see your love light? Are you letting them really enjoy and see who you are? Now, I'm not talking about being promiscuous, I'm not talking about being overly sexy, and I'm not talking about looking a certain way. What I'm talking about is letting your unique feminine essence really shine through. And the problem is, oftentimes as women, we think that we have to fit a certain mold, and we get used to playing a role or an identity. So maybe we have an identity as the good girl, or the mom, or the CEO, or the best friend, or the volunteer coordinator, and we think that we need to be consistent. We think that we have to be just keeping it all together. And the feminine is not consistent. The feminine is not the same day to day, even moment to moment. The feminine energy is change itself, and that means changing emotions and changing moods and thoughts, and anything that changes is feminine energy. And we deprive the world of the gift of our feminine energy when we think that we have to play one particular role, or that we have to keep it all together, or that who we are is just about what we do, how much we check off our to-do list. Of course, it's great to do all of those things and to be accomplished, but not at the expense of our authenticity, not at the expense of who it is that we are and what we want to contribute to the world. So what I oftentimes find is that women will stay in a safe zone. And of course, societally, there's been many reasons why we haven't been able to be fully expressed. But you hiding your light doesn't help the world wake up to the beauty of feminine energy and the power of feminine energy. We all need to learn how to show our feminine light in a way that still respects ourselves and still gives us the power to set healthy boundaries. I tell my clients, you can always drop the veil. You can always, turn the light down if you need to, or leave the situation, or, do something that makes you feel safe, but to just on autopilot be dimming your light just because of maybe something that's happened in the past, or because of society's expectations, is not only depriving the world, but it's also depriving yourself of really going after your dreams and living the life that you want. And so there are certain aspects of feminine energy that we might feel are more societally acceptable, and these are actually not always the ones that the masculine is craving. So we might think, the good girl, or the saint, or the mother, those are really common roles that women will play, or that we'll feel gravitated towards, and that we get praised for when we're young. Like, it's not like our parents are praising us for being a wild child, right? They're praising us when we get good grades and do the right thing and show up to our sports practices or go to church, So the saint, the mother, the innocent, the good girl, like those are all really common archetypes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times the masculine energy is craving depth. It's craving range. Jason and I were just at a workshop this past weekend with John Wineland, who's primarily a men's teacher, but he also does some couples work and some women's work. And Jason is a second-year student in one of his men's trainings programs. And this weekend was mainly for couples, all about deepening your intimacy emotionally, physically. Obviously, everything was PG and all of that. But one of the things that was amazing is there were 100 men there. And I got to hear through the other men who were in couples talking about, this is what I really enjoyed about this practice, or this is what I love about the feminine. And the main things that came through were range, feminine range. I've expressed before that the masculine really craves all the different dynamics of the feminine. So if you feel like, well, I would send that text to him, but it sounds really rude, or I would tell him I'm upset about what he said the other night, but I don't want him to get angry, or I would tell him, so many times we censor ourselves. Like, how many times have you been about to send a text and you censor yourself because the good girl or the mother or the saint within you is like, no, 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 don't do that. You have to be nice. Like, you can never get a boyfriend if you're going to be rude. But the truth is that it's not about being good. It's not about being bad, but it's about allowing ourselves to be authentic and have that full range. And we can do it in small doses. It's not like all of a sudden you have to go, be something that doesn't feel authentic to you. But if you're limiting yourself to these little boxes, you're not going to be seen. You're not going to be appreciated when men do see you. I mean, this was a huge beef that I had when I was dating. And, really over the last 10 years as I was finding my own unique feminine essence is that I would not be seen by partners. I would attract men who labeled me, certain men would be like, oh, well, you're the smart girl, you're the corporate go-getter. And then when I started teaching yoga, people would be like, oh, you're the, yoga instructor, or you're this person. Like, as humans, we love to label people. I mean, even feminine energy versus masculine energy is a label, and it's just that. It's just a construct. But we do live in a world of polarity, and sometimes it's interesting to be able to play with those dynamics. And so that's kind of the purpose of this talk that we're having tonight. But we get used to playing a certain role, and then we forget about these other options that are on the table. And then we attract partners who really just want to see us in one way. And we might even subconsciously be fitting into their ideas or their norms or their societal constructs versus really going within and being authentic and giving ourselves permission to show up fully expressed in our voice, in our actions, in our dress, our clothing, and the way we adorn ourselves, and in our life choices. And so what I find is oftentimes missing is what I alluded to earlier, like the wild child, the hot mess. How many times do we allow ourselves to just be a hot mess? Not that often. We judge ourselves like, oh, I can't feel this feeling. I need to have everything in control. I need to have my next 5 years of my life planned out. I have to be responsible. And I'm not disagreeing that we need to be responsible and pay our bills and do all those things. But so many times my clients will be like, I looked like crap. I had a baseball hat on and sweatpants, and I was walking into the coffee shop, and this person chatted me up and asked for my number. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it sounds like you were really comfortable in your own skin and you weren't really worried about what anyone else thought, and you were kind of open because you had just worked out, and so you were really in your body and grounded and connected. To me, that makes total sense. But a lot of times as women, we think in order to attract a partner, we have to look a certain way, we have to act a certain way, and then we attract partners who can't really see us, partners who want to label us, partners who themselves aren't fully expressed. And so it's so important that we allow ourselves to be in the hot mess or the wild child energy, and also be in what I'm going to call dark energy. And I know a lot of you who've done spiritual work are probably like, oh my God, what is she talking about? I'm not talking about witchcraft. I'm not talking about dark magic. I'm not talking about being manipulative, deceitful. I'm trying to think of other ways to describe this. There's toxic feminine, just like there's toxic masculine. Stepford wife, that sort of energy. That's totally toxic. That doesn't feel real or grounded or genuine. And so we don't want to go into necessarily toxic feminine, but we do want to allow ourselves to have the full range. And one of the ways we know if we have the full range is to ask ourselves how comfortable we feel with different emotions. So it's okay to be angry, obviously. I mean, it's okay to have pain and grief and fear and jealousy, and all of those things are just part of the human experience. But when we block that out, or when we suppress certain energies, then we end up feeling that it's not okay for us to be human. It's not okay to express our full selves. And I would say that these, in quotations, darker energies and emotions like anger, rage, jealousy, sorrow, all of that, we need that now more than ever, because that helps to light a fire and helps us to get in touch with our deepest truth. And we live in a time that we can't just say, oh yeah, everything's going great societally. Look at all the crap that's happening, right? We need women who are in touch with their anger and in touch with their rage and in touch with injustice. Just like we need boys to feel that way and men to feel that way, and all different, varieties on the spectrum and scale of gender and sexual orientation. We can't cut off these pieces of ourselves, and we can't create this society, even though it feels like we live in one, that's so compartmentalized. And so I'm kind of on my soapbox tonight, but I feel really charged up after doing this awesome workshop, and I feel really devoted to helping people feel comfortable being seen. And so something I've been telling my clients lately is be seen, queen. Like, let yourself be seen. You know, I call my clients queens because the program is called Queens of Pleasure. And it's all about reclaiming your sovereignty and your dignity when it comes to love, and feeling good along the way instead of feeling like it's a chore or feeling hurt, you know, which can happen so frequently. So be seen, queen. You know, let yourself be seen in this range. Let yourself not have to keep it all together. Let yourself be authentic with how you feel. You know, that it's fine or I'm fine is like the death curse for a relationship and for ourselves. Whenever someone is like, oh, are you okay with that? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Ew. Like, I used to say that all the time, and I still do catch myself saying it. And it's just not true. It's just not the truth. Like, if we're sad, we should be able to say, yeah, like, I'm sad. I'm having a really tough time. Or if a guy's like, oh, do you want Mexican? And you feel like Thai, to be like, oh, it's fine. Wouldn't it be better to be like, well, Mexican could work, but I'd really like Thai. How about some spring rolls or curry? Or like, you know, if you brought that energy to someone, they'd probably be like, oh, cool. Thank you for making my life easier. Now I know what you want. And so we can have this amazing experience together. I mean, unless they're dying for Mexican. But most of the time, people just, they want to help you be happy just without sacrificing who they are or sacrificing their needs. And so allowing yourself to be seen in your desires, allowing yourself to be seen in your emotions will help you to attract a partner who can really see you. And if they can't, it will give you that much more confidence to let that person go. Like, it's not about getting more dates. It's not about like, you know, getting to a certain stage in relationship. It's about feeling the full expression of yourself and love and authenticity along the way. Because I was married in my 20s. It was not a very authentic relationship. It was not a very fulfilling relationship. Yeah, I had a ring on my finger, but you know, there's a lot of pain there. I was drinking a lot and had some eating challenges and was totally a workaholic. And anyway, you don't need to know my whole story, but we've all been in situations where we got into something that we wanted to be right, but it just wasn't authentic. So being seen, allowing ourselves to be seen along the way makes it so much more enjoyable, and actually is the only way that we can create a sustainable and fulfilling partnership. And even then, you know, sometimes it doesn't work in the long term. Sometimes people have different value systems or different priorities, or things get revealed as you get to know someone that are different than what you thought when you first started getting to know them. But wouldn't you rather love and be seen and be through this messy, authentic process and really know yourself and have devoted yourself to love and to partnership than to be doing this sort of Stepford wife thing? I mean, I know it's not maybe sounding very glamorous, but to me it's so fulfilling and so rewarding. And I just want to go back to this workshop. You know, there were homosexual couples, heterosexual couples there, but it was interesting, this dynamic between whether it was a feminine or masculine partner. You know, masculine craving range and even craving some of those darker emotions like rage. Like, you know, when a woman is upset at something, it can of course go sideways if she's being violent. But if she's being upset about something because it's an injustice and it's because she's passionate about something and it's done in a way that's clean, it can be really activating. It helps clarify what are our principles, what are our priorities, what's really important to us. And if someone can't hold space for your anger, then they probably are out of touch with their anger, or they need to do some work with themselves as well for being able to hold space for you. Again, as long as you're not projecting it, then it can be really a gift. So I just encourage everyone to have the opening to be seen in the fullness of who they are, their range of masculine and feminine, their range within both of those dynamics, the range of their emotions, the range of their desires, and then let that help inspire and draw close to the right partner for you. And if that's something that you ever struggle with, like, well, how do I express myself? How do I not censor myself, but still, show up in the world in a way that's workable? How do I get in touch with my feminine or my masculine? How do I integrate those two energies within myself? And how do I attract a partner that really sees me and really gets me? And how do I feel safe setting boundaries along the way, right? Like, it sounds easy, but it's actually somewhat complicated. So if you ever struggle with that, please reach out to us. We have a free 20-minute discovery call that we do with people. If it makes sense to continue to work together, there'll be another free call where we'll dive deeper and give you a game plan for what's going on. If we feel like it's not a great fit in either of those two kind of steps of the process, we'll send you some resources like some books or some videos that really align with what it is that you need. And you can go to violetlange.com/talk to set up that discovery session. And I'm looking forward to continuing the dialogue and allowing ourselves to be seen in all of these ways so we can have fuller expression and more authentic love. So, mwah. Bye.